Hi, hello, how are you? I'm Ashish Khare, founder of MentorKart. I'm delighted to have with me two eminent guests today who will engage in a dialogue with each other on how to lead organization on the path of sustained performance growth. This is the second session in the series of Make in India. We did the first one last Thursday, and they will share how companies can grow profitably by taking advantage of the Make in India thirst of government using the theory of constant TOC methodology. Mr. Prasun Chowdhury, founder director of Avenir Management Consulting, will engage Dr. Arup Kumar Chattopadhyay, ex MD of Tata Refractories Limited, on how he led significant growth in a harmonious manner of his organization. Mr. Prasun Chaudhary is a renowned consultant and coach to large and medium-sized organizations such as the Tata Group, Godrej Voice, Godrej Industries, Kirloskar Brothers in India, and Philips, Bayer, Petronas, among other internationally. As the founding director of Avenir, he has facilitated his clients to achieve significant growth in profits while improving teamwork and creating a harmonious culture by applying the principle and practices of theory of constraint. I would like to hand over to Prasan to take the session forward and introduce Dr. Chattopadhyay. Over to you, Prasan.
Ashish, and it is truly my privilege, my honor to share the same platform with Dr. Arup Kumar Chattopadhyay. He has been a friend, a guide, philosopher for me for many years now since I have made my acquaintance with him. And the first time I came in touch with him was when he was just starting his journey as the managing director of Tata Refractories Limited, which has since now been renamed as TRL Kurosaki Refractories Limited because it was taken over by Kurosaki of Japan. Dr. Chattopadhyay started his corporate journey after completion of his doctorate from Calcutta University in the 1970s. So you can understand he has a rich and coveted work experience of over 46 years in leading the refractory industry, like industries, companies like Dalmia Refractories, ACC's Refractories Division, and of course, Tata Refractories Limited. He has been a pioneer in introducing innovative products and services which help the organizations to achieve phenomenal growth under his august stewardship. Till date, he has presented more than 80 technical papers in various national and international seminars and published technical articles in journals and proceedings around the globe. But he's not only a technical person, he's a techno managerial person, I like to call him, because he has led these organizations to vastly improve performance, including Tata Refractories, which we are going to dialogue with him about. He's been conferred with Distinguished Life Member of United International Technical Conference on Refractories for his stupendous contribution in the field of refractories. And currently, he is holding the chairmanship of Refractories Sectional Committee and as well as serving as the chairman of Heatworks for a Malaysian company called DeLong. Last but not the least, at present, he is serving as a technical consultant to many Indian and overseas refractory companies. Before I engage Dr. Arup Chattopadhyay, sir, you're very, very welcome to this platform. I would like to share a little bit about what refractories is. I'm sure Dr. Chattopadhyay would be much, much more qualified to explain. But for those of you who are new to this word refractory, refractories essentially are very specialized bricks which are used as lining in process industries for key equipment like steel, glass, cements, etc. So that these very, very costly key equipment can perform up to their potential and are not damaged. The linings are not damaged, the insides of these equipment are not damaged, and the productivity is as per the expectations. So these refractories are the life of the process industries. And Dr. Chattopadhyay, being at the helm of the refractory industry, has ensured that the productivity of Indian process industry in steel, glass, and cement and other industries has gone from strength to strength. So, Dr. Chattopadhyay, very welcome. And we are going to talk today about the journey that you took in Tata Refractories. Over to you, sir.
Good evening, Prasun. How are you? I'm
I'm very good.
so glad to see you after a long time. And good evening, Ashish. It is a proud privilege on my part to share my thoughts, what I did in theory of constraints. But prior to that, let me tell you that was right what Prasun was telling just now, that I was about to take over as managing director of Tata Refractories when I first met Prasun. And then, of course, lot of water has flown through Ganges. Yeah, the company finally has been taken over by a Japanese company, Kurosaki, and that happened during my time only. That will come after some time. That how it came, how it happened. But TRL Kurosaki was at that point of time was already TRL was a industry leader. There's no doubt about that. And when I took over as a managing director, I felt that uh, TRL needed to embrace a new paradigm and for business excellence to grow faster and to grow profitably. And that's how I was contacting TOC because I read by that time Goal, the book, very famous book, where everything was that's the way it is done. That's the way it is done. So I took this concept that let me take the advantage. And because I'm a technical person, I didn't have any difficulty to understand that true competitive edge in the marketplace can be derived from operational excellence. And I wanted to become that TRL to become the best in the industry by far, and how it ran its operation, and then changing this operation excellence to be able to leverage in the marketplace. That was the beginning of our TOC journey with Prasun's team.
Yeah. So, thank you very much, Dr. Saab. You have, I think, narrated the situation and the context in which you started this journey, and we were very privileged to support you in this journey. Now, of course, Tata Group companies, as you know, has always been at the forefront of new management technologies. Lean, Six Sigma. Whenever it has come, Tata Group companies have always embraced it. So, um, given that, I'm sure even Tata Refractories would have used Lean, Six Sigma, and other management technologies. And you being a technology person, management is also a technology, right? Okay. So, from that point of view, what did you find different which made you try out theory of constraints, or TOC, as a methodology for transformation in your organization?
Yeah, very true. That we had been applying different management methodologies over a period of time, and
Mhm.
getting some results also. I would say that TRL gained strength to strength under my leadership, and before me under leadership of Mr. Kamath, whom I succeeded. However, when I came across this concept of TOC, I appreciated that this was a business solution rather than a solution for only operations, because it encompassed key aspect of the organization in a very holistic manner, right from raw material to delivery to sales marketing. This was the first aspect. Secondly, there is a direct contact and connect between theory of constraints and the financial impact on the organization in terms of increasing the top line and the bottom line. Thirdly, TOC seemed to be very simple in my language. When I read books from Ellie, I found that we think in a very complex way, but all there was in theory of constraint is very, very simple. Let us keep the things in a simple way. So these all the things which made me exciting that let's take this journey apart from all the journeys which we already undertook. Rather, we needed to ask the question that how can we change the some of our paradigms. We needed to ask what is limiting our ability to make more and more. And by defining the constraints, which in our case started with effective utilization and in some cases increasing our capacity, that was the constraint. And lastly, but maybe most importantly, theory of constraints helped us to get into a mindset, which was a win-win mindset with our customers. We got into the discipline of asking the question, what is the pain point of a customer, and can we resolve that pain point, and how? So these were the things which prompted me to go for TOC as a methodology for transformation.
Thank you, Dr. Chattopadhyay. And I think the last point that you mentioned encapsulates it all, because every organization, if it could look at its customers and ask the question, what we or any of our companies in the industry are contributing to the pain of the customer, and how can we resolve that pain, I think this world will be a better place in terms of the customer supplier relationships and adding value overall. So thank you very much for saying that. Um, maybe Dr. Saab, you can share a little bit with us, that in this transformation journey, what were some of the key initiatives that you undertook? Some examples of that.
Okay. I think several initiatives were taken, but coming back to all those things, first of all, we realized that the senior leadership, they have to organize and they have to speak the same language. They cannot speak different languages because, we have seen that, and it was there in case of TRL also, that we were not moving out of our silos. We were moving in silos. For example, the production head could not be responsible for the profits of the company. Sometimes the salespeople will think that they will bring any order and that will be executed, and without understanding the difficulties of the production department. So these were the typical mentalities which were flowing through the organization. And so new product development was taking a lot of time, and because refractory is a derived industry, when steel is in trouble, cement is in trouble, they are having their operation problem, then only the refractories come into the picture. So refractory as own, they don't have a demand, they are derived industry. And so when we found that new product development was a very key feature for our industry to grow, and this was taking a lot of time because of the inherent silo mentality. So now in TOC, no one could point finger to each other and get away with it. Uh, we introduced some measurement. The measurement techniques were such that there was no possibility for any department to pinpoint finger. The salespeople cannot talk about the production people cannot talk about the salespeople. So defining these measures and getting into the weekly discipline. The first thing I remember you told one day that, when you talk of, you are talking of 12 months, 4 weeks, 48 weeks. But when you take weekly, you take 52 weeks. 4 weeks are already got. So this was a simple but really understandable thing, that how you increase the discipline and reviewing the progress on the measures, that became a second nature to all of us. Now, as we started this measurement and review process, we quickly realized that in some product line, we were working in full capacity. The demand was more than the capacity, and some other product lines, we had lots of idle capacity. Demand was less than our capacity. At the same time, we had unnecessary inventory of many raw materials and goods, finished goods, and raw materials were across the floor. And those were the time when we found that probably this silo mentality will not work, and we have to take to the measurement techniques which TOC have taught us. And our on-time full delivery OTIF, we used to call in your terminology. That delivery was committed to our customer, and that was I remember the figure faintly, that was around 30%. It was, we were really considered to be one of the bad in the industry for that one time in full. And on an average, which means there was a huge scope for improvement in customer satisfaction. uh, we have, there was a production line, you recall, uh, Dolomite, which was the
Dolomite,
most
yes.
profit making line. We had six different lines. I'm not trying to tell all those things in very elaborate manner, but Dolomite was one of the profitable lines, because we were, in those years, we were the only supplier in this country. We are producing Dolomite. Even today, probably TRL is the only domestic producer of Dolomite. And we were thinking of some making investments because we were seriously running short of capacity. But applying TOC, I would remember that we increased our capacity without any investment, and we focused on that. Capacity was relieved by almost 20%, and focusing on those heavily loaded equipments, press machines. That means the Dolomite can now produce 20% more without any investment. And we realized that our customers were more satisfied by this capacity utilization of the Dolomite plant. Another important aspect that we realized that we can improve the prices if we prepare to offer a win-win offer to the communication, to the key customers. We can offer, some customers wanted, for their planning mistake, they wanted a quick delivery, and we would be happy to guarantee that in a higher price. And they some of the cases I remember that did it. They give the higher price because they wanted the delivery in time. All the while, we were reducing our production and delivery cycle time by ensuring that we had a tracking system called, in TOC term, it was called buffer management. And that buffer management gave us a scope for the raw material inventory as well as the finished good inventory to be controlled. Our new production line, which new product development, that embraced, which was called a project management process of TOC. And then with that, we reduced the failure rates, and we could make a lot of products which were developed, new products which were developed in shortest possible time. There's much better commitment, and there much better communication with the sales operation and the new product development teams. We also realized that with our enhanced operation and project management capability, we could be in a unique position to offer integrated refractory solution, which is now a call of the day in the industry. That, they are no longer interested for a product; they are interested for a solution. And by combining all the efforts which TOC taught us, we could offer them a solution, integrated solution. So these were some of the things which we achieved after applying TOC. Maintenance and management solutions are also linked, and we started moving in this direction by opening dialogues with some of the strategic customer during that time. That, we, instead of simply giving a product, we will give a solution. That was the starting point of a new concept in the industry.
Thank you very much, Dr. Saab. I think that was quite an impressive list of initiatives under your leadership, and that was moving on towards that aspect of your leadership, which is something I remember distinctly. And let me give an example. This was one of the times when I was quite upset one afternoon when I was in TRL, and then I knocked on the door, your door, and I came in, and you were saying that you were in a meeting already. I said, Dr. Saab, I'm sorry for disturbing you in a meeting, but this is something that cannot wait. And you asked me what was it. I said, some of your people on the shop floor in one of the product lines are not wearing uh, the safety shoes or the safety hats. To my amazement, you actually immediately you cut short that meeting, I remember, and called in the supervisors and managers of that shop floor's workmen and gave them an ultimatum that unless in the second half, by the second half, everybody was complying with the safety regulations, you would ask the managers and the shop floor people to go. And this reminded me, so much about the fact that you and I used to discuss that Mr. Ratan Tata, one of the things, when he used to uh, have, discuss with the MDs of the Tata Group companies, he would say, well, we will talk about the profits later, but first item we should discuss is the safety and hygiene. Have there been any accidents? So from, that day, I was even more impressed by your leadership capabilities and your leadership acumen and the immediate steps that you took. So, in that same light, as a leader of the organization, when you're making this change, what did you feel as the need for consultants, and what role did consultants like Avenir play in this journey for you?
Well, Avenir did an excellent job. That talk later that I have a list of improvements which was made. Even if you don't ask me, I will tell those things. I still remember. But we hired Avenir as a partner in the transformation journey. I must say that it was not only they were very professional. You had a team which were extremely professional, but they helped us a lot to achieve and to understand, to buy the TOC process, especially as some of the TOC concepts. I remember, and also you will believe that you are a very staunch TOC consultant, and then you will believe that it was sometimes counterintuitive. And because it is counterintuitive, I can say that you have to, you were the first people who own our hearts of many people in the organization. The advantage of using a consultant was that TRL could leverage your experience and your expertise, and you have come across a lot of successes, lot of failures. So with those kind of things, we could easily understand that planning and execution of the initiatives in the transformation journey, therefore, takes less time when you understand that somebody takes you through a path and that yes, failure, and you don't have to move in that path. And so for a higher quality, higher growth was achieved through your handholding. And one also gets the confidence that yes, I'm on the right path. And Avenir worked with us like a true partner and helped us in building an environment of teamwork and discipline while actively guiding us in the TOC initiative. They were at the same time very quick to help us course correct. I remember many incidents, but I don't want to dwell on those. But there were many incidents where you immediately course correct the situation uh, and keep our focus on the review process rather than pondering over the failures. So this was the main reason that we consulted Avenir.
And I distinctly remember the clarity and transparency with which you used to conduct those reviews. That used to make them very, very effective. So that was very nice. Thank you so much, Dr. Chattopadhyay. So uh, these were some of the intangible things that happened. But if you look at some things tangibly, what would you say were some of the benefits to TRL? Um, in this transformation journey.
No, yeah, Prasun, this is always a ongoing improvement.
Right.
And if I remember, the terminology is now almost 10 years back, but still I remember the term POGI, your process
Hmm.
of ongoing improvement. You call it POGI. And we started getting our first results within 6 months. That I remember from the start of our journey, we got to some quick results. One, I can give a list. The dolomite line capacity increased by 20%, I was mentioning. and there was no need for immediately some additional investment, as dolomite was a high contribution margin product that significantly increased our bottom line. Of course, now after that, we took up a project of doubling the capacity, but that was when the demands even went higher. Uh, but immediately, there was no need of investment. Our on time in full OTIF improved from 30% to 70%, and we could visibly see that it can go up to 90%. That was the improvement. And some of the prices we got higher, and that could those orders were delivered rapidly and added to our bottom line. And the teamwork of the organization improved substantially, significantly. And as we were all focused and responsible for the key financial measures, and nobody was working as a production manager or as a sales manager or as a product development manager or the technology manager. Everybody was in the same tune. So this was one of the achievement we achieved within coming few months. And as NPD was churning our new product faster, new product development was churning out very fast. We that enabled us to go to the market much comfortably and easily. And soon after a couple of years of implementing TOC in TRL, the Tata Group management, of course, decided that we should have a partner, technology partner, who are much superior in technology, and that's how Japan Kurosaki was, after a lot of churning again, Kurosaki was selected for our technology partner, and I was also a very instrumental in the whole activity. And I personally believe that the valuation the Japanese company gave, because TOC improved the value of the company. That's how Tata Group got the benefit.
Thank you, Rizab. I think that was very insightful. One comment to all the viewers, all the participants of this live cast. If you have any questions, you can write them down on the right hand side in this chat box, and it would be a pleasure to respond to them. Of course, you can send me questions on my email ID, which I am writing here. Um or contact me on my mobile uh, second later on as well. So uh, going on, and my final question to Dr. Chattopadhyay is, you know, there are many organizations which have benefited from TOC, Dr. Saab,
Yeah.
but there are even more organizations which are waiting to benefit, which have not yet undergone that journey. So, what would be your advice to even to small, medium sized, or large organizations, the business leaders of these organizations, if they were to undertake this journey of a theory of constraints? What would be your advice as a senior leader, as a doyen of the industry to them, please?
I cannot give any advice, but yeah, I can only talk from my experience that
Mhm,
TOC is a very powerful management technology because it
mhm,
is simple and at the same time common sense. But common sense, unfortunately, is not common practice, as Dr. Goldratt said. So there will be some counterintuitive actions and policy changes to be undertaken. That is why having a consultant to guide you and keep your focus on the goal and key measures is very, very, very important. The journey is simple but not easy, and the results are definitely worthwhile. And finally, I'll conclude uh, that in TOC, through the consultants, I have the experience that I overcame four obstacles. One, that every situation is simple. The second one, every conflict can be resolved. The third one, there is always a win win situation. People are good, and you have to create that situation. And don't believe that you know everything. because every situation can be substantially improved. So these were the four learnings the consultants taught us during TOC journey.
Sir, it is my privilege, and I must say that while Dr. Chattopadhyay is so humble to say that he learned a lot of things and he led his organization to great heights, I must put on record here that he has been over the years in many ways my mentor and guide as well. And I've learned a lot of things from him in my journey. And it is truly my pleasure to share this platform with him. Thank you so much, Dada Sab. It has been a pleasure, and I would now like to hand it over to Ashish.
Thank you very much,
Thank you,
Prasun.
Dr.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Chattopadhyay. Thank you, Mr. Prasun. I would request here audience to uh, check the link I have just posted for 90-minute masterclass on TOC. People who want to understand a little more about it, you can click on the link and register now there. Thank you for insightful discussion, both of you, and thank you and goodbye. And I will just say audience to visit the MentorKart platform and see the kind of the content and the mentors we are bringing on board from very experienced people like Dr. Chattopadhyay to Mr. Prasan or person like me who is still learning, and we take it forward from there. Thank you so much. Thank you all of you.
Thank you, Ashish, and have a very good day,
Thank
Dr. Chattopadhyay.